What if the internet paused for 60 seconds? Not your Wi-Fi hiccuped, not one cloud went dark, but a literal, worldwide freeze of packet delivery for exactly 1 minute. Routers keep their lights on, radios keep whispering, but no packet moves from A to B until the second hand ticks once around. At T0, nothing explodes. Your phone shows bars. Your laptop shows a cheerful little globe. You click, and the spinner begins to spin, because that is its purpose. Video calls freeze into modern art. Streams pause on unflattering frames. Music keeps playing if it was buffered. Otherwise, the singer becomes a statue mid-vowel. In a million offices, a million progress bars lose the will to progress. Under the floorboards, protocols reach for their inhalers. TCP sends a packet, waits, and then politely asks, "Hello?" with a retransmission. DNS resolvers query names and receive silence. Most caches carry you a little way. Yesterday's weather, a logo you've seen 100 times, the map tiles for the part of town you always scroll past. But anything fresh is stale by definition. It turns out a lot of the modern world is fine with yesterday for about 59 seconds. Stocks do not crash because exchanges are not one website. They are fortified islands. Matching engines inside a given building keep talking to each other over private fiber. Co-located traders continue their dance. The global feeds that ship prices outward, though, are paused, which means the world outside the island is blind. You cannot place a retail trade from your phone, but the market makers inside the island already placed theirs 10 milliseconds ago. The main effect is that fewer people get to be clever for 1 minute. Air traffic continues to be traffic. Aircraft talk to towers on radios, older than your grandparents' acronyms. Satellite links for weather and position lag, but crews are trained for lag. A few cockpits notice that a cloud service for flight plans isn't answering just now, and shrug and pilot. The sky is big, and 1 minute is small, which is a sentence that calms the stomach more than it informs the math. Hospitals, patient monitors inside a ward are on local networks. Electronic records, though, live in distant castles. A medication order placed at T 10 seconds will sit in a queue like a cat at a closed door. Nurses will do what they've always done when software is slow, which is use eyes, clocks, and paper for 60 seconds, and then swear softly as the logins time out. Emergency calls keep working, because telephony has 1,000 ways to carry voice that don't involve your group chat server. Payments feel the pause in the way restaurants feel a rainstorm. Many card terminals prefer to ask the bank in real time if your card is real and your money exists. When the line goes quiet, some terminals switch to store and forward. Others display messages that translate to, "Please stand very still while the economy breathes." In grocery lines around the planet, people discover that cash still works, and also that nobody carries it. 1 minute later, the queue unclenches, and the receipts print in a small, frantic symphony. The most frustrated entities are machines programmed to believe in constant reassurance. Heartbeats between services go unanswered, and nervous microservices decide their friends are dead. Some rush to restart, others spin up clones. Autoscalers look at 500 errors and add more capacity to handle the silence. When the pause ends, tens of thousands of newborn servers wake into a flood of retried requests, and for a few minutes, the internet experiences its own aftershock. Not a crash exactly, but a thundering herd of good intentions. Security does something funny. Attackers' command and control channels go as still as everyone else's. Ransomware waiting for an encryption key doesn't get it. Botnets poised to spray login attempts hold their breath. Two-factor codes that rotate every 30 seconds tick past two numbers while nobody can submit them. For a brief, awkward moment, the safest login method is try again in a minute, which feels like advice from your grandfather and works about as well. Time itself wobbles by a hair. NTP, the protocol that keeps clocks sane, can handle a minute of silence, but some devices already believed they were right, and others wanted to check. A few cheap clocks will jump, then jump back, and one or two will write angry log entries about paradoxes. Somewhere a database scheduled to run a job every minute will miss exactly one and spend the afternoon explaining itself to a human who names servers after extinct birds.
People notice in waves. Gamers swear first. Traders watching feeds reload second. Everyone on a video call stares at one another's unblinking faces and performs the ritual called, "Can you hear me?" 3 times, with feeling. In apartments, roommates emerge from rooms and ask the oldest technical question, "Is it just me?" and realize they don't know, because the channel where they would ask is also paused. In those 60 seconds, the world enjoys the quietest group chat of the century, and then it ends. Packets sprint, backed up emails disgorge in clumps. Your inbox makes a noise like hail on a tin roof. Every messaging app in the world floods with, "Whoa, did your internet just..." Messages that cross in the ether like apologetic birds. Trading apps catch up. Maps redraw. Streaming services decide you are still you. The elevator music of civilization fades back under the dialogue. After effects last longer than the pause. Some services struggle under the reconnection storm and need a reboot by a human whose coffee went cold while the status page refreshed. A handful of transactions double submit and must be reconciled. A few meetings run 5 minutes late for a reason everyone understands too well to be mad about. The most enduring artifact is social. For the rest of the day, people make eye contact with neighbors, bus drivers, and baristas at a slightly higher rate, the way you do after a small power outage when you remember electricity is a trick and not a law. What did the minute teach us? That the internet is less a place than a habit. So much of it can stop, and so little of us has to. The world keeps its shape because most critical systems either have offline modes or older, boring backups. The email can wait. The market prefers not to, but even it can hold its breath. The angriest systems are the ones we built to be nervous. Server herds, microservices with abandonment issues, humans who learn to equate buffering with doom. If we scheduled a pause like this every year, as a drill, we'd probably make better software. We would tune timeouts to behave like adults, cache what can be cached, and let frontline workers do their work without 7 layers of login misery. We might even plan for silence, the way cities plan for snow, not as failure, but as weather. In the meantime, if the internet ever does freeze for a minute, you'll have time to do one radical, offline thing. Look up, breathe, and practice a sentence you can say to any stranger when the world resumes. Did you feel that?